Hi everyone, and welcome to our first what should I say, fireplace discussion, okay, after that first day. And I'm lucky to have a few people around the fireplace, or they all around near their own fireplaces, kinda. My name is Fred Gaschen. I am the co-chair of the WSAVA Scientific Committee, and I was involved in designing the program for this meeting together with a lot of people. And I'm actually talking here from Louisiana, where I work as a professor at Louisiana State University. So,
go Tigers!
Yeah, go Tigers. I thought we would go around the room here and let everybody introduce themselves, and then we can talk a little bit about what we saw today. So maybe I go to Ellen.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Ellen van Nierop, and I am the current vice president of the WSAVA, enjoying this Congress very much. In my normal day-to-day, I own a clinic together with my husband in Quito, Ecuador.
Walt?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen.
Yes, joining you from sunny, warm, and little snow left Toronto area of Canada, past president of the WSAVA, and kudos, Frederic, for such a robust scientific program, considering all the trials and tribulations I'm sure you had in getting this program together based on all the challenges we're all currently facing right now. Well done. Really enjoyed today.
Thank you. Well, I guess we owe the quality of the program to the speakers. And speaking of speakers, there we have one, Jan Suchodolski, coming to us from Texas.
Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, Jan Suchodolski, originally from Vienna, Austria, but now a long time living in Texas, College Station, Texas. And yeah, I was a speaker today, so I'm starting to enjoy the conference tomorrow.
Yeah,
right. So,
and
Jan attended your talks. Very well done.
Oh,
learned a lot.
Much. Thank you.
And I was going to ask John now to introduce himself.
Sure, Frederic. John DeYoung. I'm your WSAVA treasurer. I am in the background, not at my sunny home in Florida, but in Massachusetts right now. But it's a beautiful 63-degree day. I happen to be a small animal practitioner, of course. I consider myself 1/3 retired, so I'm doing house calls now, as well as the co-founder and senior advisor for a new group called Better Vet. But happy to be with everybody, and our programming so far has been fantastic.
Well, fantastic. So speaking about this, I guess, the goal of us getting together there is to kind of reflect a little bit on what we saw today, and perhaps on what we look forward to attending tomorrow. So who wants to share what they enjoyed today?
So I'll go first.
All right.
I was at the behavior session this morning by Dr. Sexel, and it was very interesting. It was a pre-recorded lecture, but it was very good to follow. We had a very interesting question and answer. I learned lots of new stuff, so that was very nice. And then I had some time to visit exhibits, which was, well, I have to say I'm not very good at digital, so it was a little challenging at first, but then I got the hang of it, and I got lots of information from our sponsors. So, and then the cherry on the cake was the opening ceremony, which was also very nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what did you learn? Like, do you remember one thing you learned from Dr. Sexel in the behavior session?
So actually there's two things that I really need to take home. One is that I should not ignore a dog when he is being overly excited and I come home and he has separation anxiety, which is what I had always learned that we had to do. And then the second, which is very interesting and may need a little more research to make it official, is that many people, including Dr. Sexel, have found that the psychotropic drugs do not cause a lowering of the barrier for convulsions, which is what it always says in this little pieces of paper that come with the medication. In fact, it gives less convulsions to those animals that are prone to have them. So that's a very interesting thing that I think needs further research. You know, that's what happens when we take over things from human medicine. And I guess that's, you know, it's an interesting step to keep talking about.
Yeah, excellent. Yes. So your dog will get a lot more hugging in the coming days when you get
Thankfully,
back home.
Mine don't have separation anxiety, but
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
for my clients. Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Walt, what was, you know, what do you remember of the day? Were the cool things you heard?
Well, I'll tell you, I kind of dipped in and out of a few different sessions, and what impressed me the most was Dr. Mike Lappin's hair. Wow. He's got long locks. I'm very jealous, as you can see.
You could share, yeah, you could share.
But that being said, I mean, I think to reiterate what Ellen had said, to me, I found the question and answer sessions after each quite engaged, quite lively, a lot of discussion, a lot of varied discussion, and a really nice way to end a pre-recorded session. So I have to admit, I found that quite intriguing and quite a nice topping to the session itself. And then similar in terms of what I learned, I think interesting both from Mike Lappin's presentation, but also I spent a lot of time in the Global Pain Council.
Yeah.
It's really looking at more the holistic One Health approach of animals and their involvement, particularly in this uncertain times of the pandemic. Our furry friends have become such a more relevant and important part of our family. So looking at the big picture, not just the disease in front of us as a veterinarian.
Well, thanks, Walt. I'm going around my little pictures there. The next person is Jan. So Jan, I guess you were a speaker today, so you probably didn't have time too much to go around and listen to other people. But perhaps to expand a little bit on the question and answer sessions, I found, and I attended one of your lectures, that there were a lot of questions, perhaps even more so than in an in-person, you know, on-site Congress. And other Congress organizers had told me that, and I believe them, but now I have proof that I believe it's the case with us as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually very surprised by the number of questions, also the quality, but I think at one session I had like 28 questions.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's very good, because in the end, I think even in live conferences, usually you have a few people, public questions, maybe 3, and then some people come afterwards to you and you stand in line, but it's not really available, listenable to everybody. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great. So I think it's always like there's some advantages, obviously virtual, with some disadvantages, but I think having a good platform, solid platform, really helps. So I enjoyed it a lot today.
Yeah, and a quick question from me. Do you think we need more time for the question part? Or do you think there was adequate time built in?
I think so. I mean, my lectures went a little bit on the shorter side. So I was like 40 minutes. So I think that gave a lot of questions, enough questions. And obviously there were some technical glitches, but I think we're all used to them nowadays. So nobody probably has hard feelings for them.
Fair enough.
But however, maybe it would be useful. And I guess it's difficult to plan ahead. But maybe at the end of the session, maybe have a little bit larger time block to leave it a little bit open. So in case somebody goes over a little bit time, which sometimes it's unpredictable, your lecture time, if you really hit the sweet spots. So in my case, it was lucky actually that I had plenty of time.
Excellent. And John, so in the time you spent attending lectures, what did you hear? Did you hear some cool stuff?
Yeah, I happened to be in the same lectures that Ellen was in with Dr. Sexel, thinking about polypharmacy and the interaction of different drugs that one needs to take into account, which I was relatively aware of, but it was good to hear that reinforced. Looking at the environment, of course, and doing everything we can to mitigate anything that is going to make an animal nervous and an owner nervous, and how to mitigate those things and make them better. I was very favorably impressed so far since yesterday with the overall login platform. I was pleasantly surprised at how easy it is to navigate, and how it makes it sort of fun to look at sort of the cartoon characters and how to be able to log into different, whether it's live sessions or exhibitors or everything, is going very smoothly. As I just had a thought in listening to Walt and to Jan about the Q&A. One thing that when I logged in last summer to the AVMA virtual meeting, there's a pro and a con to this, that during the actual live session, there was a sideline on the screen where people could ask questions, and other people, not necessarily the speaker, would weigh in with their own answers, almost like a VIN kind of platform where people could discuss items, and then that which was not answered was answered at the end. So the pro was that it was available. The con was that it could be distracting from the actual lecture. So I think it's worth looking into about the best way to proceed on that.
Yeah, okay, it's something to look into.
I'm going to ask Frederic a question, because you've asked us what we did today.
There you go.
And you, as the organizer and head of the scientific program, I mean, you clearly were probably very interested as to how this would all play out. What were your impressions over the day, and where did you spend your time?
Yeah, I did moderate this morning session on babesiosis. Very, very interesting, the South African and the Polish perspective. And I'm no expert in babesia, and I'm not pretending I became one, but I mean, I certainly feel like I have learned quite a bit, and it's a bit scary. You know, it's like the indirect effects of global warming, where in Poland, babesia appeared to be very localized, like 20 years ago, and now it's spread over the whole country, and they see more. How should I say that, more severe clinical forms than they used to. But there was that. Then I went to the Global Pain Council. They had a phenomenal lineup of lectures, and I think really addressing pain is such an important thing, and in addition to that, the way you address pain may have so many repercussions on diseases. And my thing is kind of GI, you know, I like the gut and poop and all these things. And then definitely many of the pain medicines are going to have an effect on the GI, particularly GI motility. And so sometimes in some situations, you may get into a vicious circle with addressing the pain, but at the same time making the motility worse and all this. It was really interesting because they were all, their main topic was, well, how about doing something else than opioids, okay? Because opioids are not readily available to veterinarians worldwide, and even in the countries where they are readily available, I mean, the restrictions are getting stricter and stricter because of all the issues with abuse in the human sector. And so it was very interesting hearing about all the other things we could do, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, I did also listen to Jan and Stefan, Jan Suchodolski and Stefan Unter. This is more like my cup of tea usually, but they do such a great job talking to us and really telling us, do not, like, antibiotics are not really the first thing you should give to animals, to dogs and cats with GI disease, okay? Sometimes it's the end result of a long thought process, but it shouldn't be a reflex. And I was on clinics here the last few weeks, and it's not to cast a stone or anything, but I think we need to broadcast Jan and Stefan's talks like intensely to some of my colleagues. I think it's still a reflex that we as a profession, and I'm not setting myself apart from that, I also have it, to think there is safety in giving patients antibiotics. And I think this was okay perhaps 20, 30 years ago, but I think at this time we need to be aware that it's not okay anymore, and we need to revise that dogma. And so, Jan and Stefan did a terrific job. And I went to listen to my colleague. I did a little bit like the butterfly thing on occasion. I didn't listen to the whole hour maybe, but to the radiologist, Nathalie Rademacher, who is originally from Germany, but teaches at LSU as well, and
Go
some
Tigers.
very practical. Pardon me?
Go Tigers.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to say that every time. Fantastic. The
My son goes
Tigers,
to
just
school there.
for those who are not from North America, the Tigers are the team, the sports team of LSU. So they're
The mascot.
sometimes the mass, and there is a live tiger habitat
Yes.
with the tiger as a mascot, and his name is Mike. And so that's why we're talking about tigers. If you're not, into college sports in North America, yes, so we are the Tigers. Yes, and so that's very practical radiology talks that I thought really went across really well. And a little tidbit about why are some talks pre-recorded and some others live. And we made a decision that all state-of-the-art lectures, and Jan gave one of those today, would be live. Okay, so that's why Jan had to speak live the whole afternoon, because you can't just change in the middle. Technically, it's a bit of a challenge. And we also selected a number of lectures to be pre-recorded, because that would then allow for translation with subtitles in other languages. I know some of them have been translated into Spanish, I think Mandarin as well, and Polish, where some languages that translations are available for. So that was a big advantage to expand, if you want, the number of delegates who can actually get something out of each lecture, and so it's been a bit of a compromise, like we had about 50-50, and we'll have to see how we want to do it for future congresses, but hopefully.
And Frederic, the live lectures, were they recorded, and will they be available in the future?
Everything will be available. So I think they will be available maybe tomorrow. There's a little bit of a lag time until they post them, but every live lecture has been recorded and will be available as well.
One thing that I really do want to remark is that, it's one thing to have a course or even a set of lectures that you can go to, but the nice thing about this Congress is you actually go into the Congress hall, the nice little glass entry hall, and you can go to the exhibit. And I think that is very important also. I feel that all the major companies that are here have something very interesting to show us. I've gone in and looked at several products. I've actually gotten in touch with one or two, and they've answered immediately by WhatsApp. So I recommend everybody do go to the exhibit, and it's not as busy as normally because it's just you in the exhibit as far as you can see, but you get excellent information there on their new and their tried products.
Well, thanks, Ellen, for reminding us. Hey, John, go ahead.
Quick question. For those of us that have CE requirements, you might want to quickly comment on how people will be able to get their CE certificates. Here in Massachusetts, I have to get 15 hours per year, 9 of which have to be, I think it's can be recorded, but 6 have to be live or vice versa. So will there be a documentation on the CE certificate as to which lectures were live? Because it can be live virtual, but it still allows for Q&A.
Oh, I see. Good point. I don't know that we have that, but since there's definitely a way to obtain a certificate, and I think you can navigate through the platform to get one. And I couldn't explain it into more detail here, but I don't know that we have a certificate that would fulfill your needs. So we need to look into that.
I believe Arpita had said that it would be available at the end of the conference, but I think it's for all of those people in the United States or any countries that require CE, I think we have to make it available because everything is race approved. And since you mentioned Mike the Tiger, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a picture of Mike the Tiger at LSU.
We can't see it because you have your background.
Oh, shoot.
Mike the Tiger is swimming in the ocean.
Very nice. And so about the future, about what's the important point on the certificate, and it's definitely going to be available for sure through the platform to all participants, and we'll see about having it differentiated. Now, tomorrow is another day where we're from North, well, except with Ellen. Ellen is in the Americas, but she's currently not there. She's in Europe, which was a smart move. The others are based in the Americas, and so we can look forward to another early rising day tomorrow. And you know, I think I always look at what strikes me most of is the color of the state of the arts, and the state of the arts are brilliant. And so, not to compliment Jan in front of him, he might blush, but there are others scheduled for tomorrow. One by Elsa Beltran from the RVC in London, UK, about vestibular syndrome. That's going to be super interesting. We see a lot of those older. I mean, it's just a puzzling thing on occasion, and I'm sure she's going to bring a lot of interesting points about it. There's another lecture from Professor Wess from Germany about the current and future perspectives on the treatment of canine dilated cardiomyopathy. And there's that whole story about association of grain diets with a great, what are they? I can't remember. Walt, remind me. The diets, they're not grain. Yeah, they're grain free. Of course they are.
Yeah, they're grain free, legume based. It's sort of called BEG diets, boutique, exotic ingredients, and grain free.
See, there we are, and their effect on the cardiac muscle. There's another one by Andrew Mackin. Actually, I dropped in one of his lectures. He's a very dynamic speaker. If you haven't heard him, you should listen to Andrew Mackin, originally from Australia, and now has been in Mississippi for a long time. He's going to speak about immune-mediated hemolytic anemia. And the last one of the day will be by Beatrice Monteiro, who is originally from Brazil, but out in Quebec, Canada at the moment. She will talk about pain, behavior, and emotions in cats, an animal welfare perspective. So that seems like she's going to give us a crystal ball to at last understand what's happening and what cats have been hiding from us all these past millennia. All right, so that's really what I'm going to try to focus on tomorrow if I can.
Wonderful. I'm looking at the feline stream, which looks wonderful, and the gastrointestinal stream, which also looks wonderful, and which is designed by the Polish, Polish Association. So that's very good. And the good thing is I don't have to choose, because whatever I look at tomorrow, I can do the other one within the next 3 months. So that's the good thing of these congresses. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to weigh in tomorrow on the One Health at some point that Lappin's going to be leading, just because of the fact that I read a newspaper column here in Boston every week, and I want to make sure I'm completely up to speed, because every now and then I do comment in the column about COVID and animals and people and zoonosis and all the rest of it. I think I'm up to speed, but you can always learn something new every minute.
Yeah, excellent.
And for myself, unfortunately, it's a working day tomorrow, but the day after, I will look forward to joining in with the FECAVA symposium, because they're speaking about individual wellness. And in context, we were fortunate enough to do a tenets of collegiality or standards of collegiality between the WSAVA and FECAVA. And so that document will be introduced as well. So excited for then.
Excellent. Jan, do you have any plans for tomorrow except for enjoying a beautiful day in College Station, Texas?
No, actually, I'm gonna go into the GI sessions tomorrow, and from the liver side, which usually I focus on the GI tract, so I'm gonna focus on the liver tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it seems like you know, we all have plans, and I hope everyone will enjoy the lectures they plan to attend. I think for our listeners, I think really that it shouldn't be a problem to find something you like. And like Ellen mentioned, there are disadvantages to a virtual format, but the advantage is you don't have to sacrifice anything. You can always say, oh, I would like to listen to this one, and but today I'm going to listen to that one, and I'll circle back to the first one, another time. Absolutely. So no more, like I found these choices very difficult to make in on-site live meetings. So that's it here for our discussion. I think we could, these fireplace discussions with, I only have a glass of water because it's just noon, but with maybe a glass of whiskey next time, we could go on the whole evening. We've done that
somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually past 5 in Europe, and but then hope to see many of you tomorrow attending the various lectures and asking questions and participating in the debate. I hope you enjoy that opportunity, and you have a great time for the coming 2 days. And thank you for the panelists here for taking a little bit of your time today to reflect on the things we reflected on. See you next time, okay?
Hey, Frederic,
Bye.
beat Michigan tonight.
All right, we'll do what we can, I guess. All right, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.